He assumed he could best me. Well, why did he run to the forest to hide? Pathetic, thinking he's assured safety from a prize tracker. I am Lockdown. I've had the benefit of experience finding some of the most elusive prey. My expertise is boundless. Do you think I'll simply be made a fool? Not while I stand.
That's what you get for being naughty! Starring as the villain of the second highest grossing Transformers film Age of Extinction, Lockdown didn't start from the Generation 1 roots, but instead the Transformers animated series. His voice was slick, he's cunning, and has proven himself worthy of a film lead. He did get a movie tie-in figure in the Revenge of the Fallen toy line, however canon to the main films, he sheds the brighter color and edgy "nobody understands me" teenage punk alt mode and slim build for a more humanoid style. And man, it looks pretty ugly, even by film standards, and that's saying something. Hired by the creators to reset the balance of order and not affiliated by either side, though seems to have made a name for himself, Lockdown proves to be a worthy adversary. Lockdown transforms into a Lamborghini Aventador, and it's sad. How? Well, when I take a look at the Masterpiece Sideswipe, the Countach blows me back. I love the Lambo style, even getting a good Hot Wheels collection of the models. So what drunk uncle made this piece of garbage to shove in my face? That's technical foul! Lamborghinis are supposed to be beautiful, and at least he has the essentials, but it looks like someone grabbed the book Lamborghinis for Dummies, but some of the pages were ripped out. He doesn't even have a proper logo, just a gold triangle. I can't even say it's based off the film. Where did the brown come from? The blue windows, open gap, deceptive, I thought he wasn't part of any faction. What other lies have I been told? Well, I'll give it that the mold on the back looks fine, even with the painted taillights, but that logo is still a gold triangle. Wheels roll very nicely, a major surprise given they're not pinned in. And while I can look past the colors, I mean, compare that to the Dinobots, I think they just wanted visual flair. The biggest crime is the open gap. Just shows too much inside, is massively distracting, and could have been avoided. There's a few crooked gaps on the top to attach the massively large weapon. Yes, it's ridiculously large for a smooth car, but at this point, it's entertaining me enough to distract from the car underneath. Car mode is disappointing. I guess it functions alright, but visually it could have been improved. Instead, I'm reminded how Hot Rod did it better. Too many things are displeasing from this. Robot mode. In robot mode, listen, I'm not a toy engineer, but even I know this is hardly the best they could do. Seems like they squished him down and flattened him with a steamroller. Funny, the engineering seems inspired from Dark the Moon Roadbuster, except someone knew what they were doing. The body is so awkwardly lumpy, the arms are long, the lower arms are flat with the claw hands, and the legs, well, they're okay, but I'm still mad. I don't know what to think of the face. In the film, it rounds out enough and seems okay. But the toy, while evoking some of the details, fails to capture the cunning, emoting Terminator terror, and instead goes for the subtle, if Skeletor had a child with the Crypt Keeper. Decepticon logos. Blue eyes. Who even saw the film? Did someone say, articulation? Ball jointed head, up and down hinge, ball joint shoulders, rotation below, elbow bend, hips out and in, forward to back, rotation below, knee bend, and up and down foot. Posability is bland. The hips are connected together and sometimes you move one and the other will follow. I've seen this type of connection before, but the lack of friction from the socket doesn't hold the other side enough to stay set. Also, there's no pose that'll make him look pretty, unless you look at him from behind, and with the kibble, nope, still a mess. I can barely pick out any detail I like. Even in the legs, they look so thin thing compared to the upper body. It's like looking at a discarded troll design. Let's take a look at the weapon. Lockdown comes with the massive railgun based on the iconic gun face. Now this is some class. The proportions seem right with its long shaft. And the detail work is actually easy on the eyes, unlike You can also plug it into the hand, and while it gets away from the originality, the weapon does allow you for some better looking posing options. But is that because of the weapon, or I don't want to say it. Using the tab on the gap, you can completely recreate that look of the film, and unfortunately, this is probably the only good reason to get this figure, since Studio Series, the other official mainline fourth film Lockdown, never continued this. With these gray pads, you can pull back and launch the friction-fired missile. Pretty simple gimmick, but at least it's something. As it stands with the posability, you only get slight side motion. At the time of the release, this was the only Lockdown to be released in the main toy line, which was a crime against scale. I'm not a super nut about this, but compare this to the Optimus Prime and be careful who you bully in school. Is it sad Hot Rod beats it on every level? Even the head? Thankfully, the Last Night provided a closer scale version, but this still looks like visual trash. The Studio Series clearly outshines this figure, but he's bigger. So it begs the question, does this Lockdown have a place anywhere? I guess if you need to have a Lockdown from that specific Age of Extinction line or want the gun face. Other than that, I have no idea why you'd want this. It's hard to say it's outdated, only because it wasn't well received to begin with. Its relevance was only held for the time it was the only option, and even then some grabbed the flip changer instead. No, I really don't recommend this figure. In fact, I recommend throwing it in a wood chipper. I can hardly find anything of worth, even the transformation is slapped on lazily. I'll keep it around as I usually do with my figures. Also, its failure and datedness has become an oddity, but it's certainly not worthy of its name. And the worst part is, it destroyed a good car. For shame! You're breathtaking.